my new 5e group. Looks like I will be running 5e for my old second edition group, which I'm really excited about. It came about because our second edition dungeon master said he wasn't up for running any more games for us. He wasn't having as much fun, it sounds like. So I gladly stepped up and offered to run a game. Before we even started playing second edition, I had said I would love to run a game because I tend to prefer running games for people as opposed to playing in games. I find it easier for me to get in character and things like that. Also, I think that it'll work really well with our group because I've ran games for my wife before. She knows how I run games, and I think the other 4 players will really enjoy it too. So here's the rundown of what's gone on. I met with them on Sunday to create characters, and they continued to ask. Well, a lot of them were trying to optimize their characters, which I'm completely fine with as long as it's in the rule book. Go ahead and do what you think is best for what you want to do. So we had, all right, we'll start with the cleric. Our cleric kept asking, well, what's the best way to make my cleric? And so I had explained that I'm running a Cleric of Life that's a dwarf, and I love it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I said, besides that, I haven't really looked too much into the cleric outside of that. And I even told her, I said, a buddy chose my spells for me because I didn't have time to do it, which AJ Pickett helped me with that. So anyways, I told her that, and I said, really, I can't tell you how to make your character per se. It kind of comes down to what you would like to get out of your player more. So she went and took my suggestion, and she's using a human Cleric of Life. And yeah, I think for her spells, she took Light, Resistance, Spare the Dying, Bless, Cure Wounds, Healing Word, or Ward, I think. Maybe it's Word. Detect Magic, Shield of Faith, and Guiding Bolt. So those were the spells she took. And then the languages she speaks are Common and Goblin. So that was her character. She didn't finish it Sunday. She got basically to the point where she knew what race and class she was going to play. That was about it. We spent a lot of time Sunday night as a whole group, all 6 of us discussing, well, what's the best and this and that. And a lot of times I just said, look, guys, it kind of depends on your concept. Our player, Patty, is playing a fighter, and she kept saying, well, what's the best? And I said, well, what style do you want to go with? And I can then help you from there. And I explained to her, because she still wasn't sure what she wanted to do. I explained to her, I said, well, you got to think of it this way. Look, and this was the example I used. I said Legolas and Gimli are 2 different types of fighters. You have a dex-based fighter and you have a strength-based fighter. What do you think is more entertaining to play? What would you enjoy more? And she didn't seem to know. Now, it did kind of come up that she's a fan of Bree from Game of Thrones. And so one thing I said, I think we settled on the strength aspect, and so we came up with her being a Half Orc Fighter, and her motivation is Bree from Game of Thrones. So that's what she's going to go with, it seems like. So anyways, that was all we determined with her. We determined attributes for everybody. Okay. So then, was it Monday? I believe it was Monday. Maybe it was yesterday. I don't know. Anyways, Monday or Tuesday, I went over. It was Tuesday, sorry. Tuesday night, went over and met with the human cleric and the human fighter about their characters. My wife met me over there. We had dinner, and I helped them finish their characters. Our human fighter used to be our DM. He is excited, I think. He spent a lot of time looking at feats. His character is a strength-based fighter. He took dueling with +2 damage, heavy armor master, which takes away 3 damage for anything non-magical, pretty much. Second wind. He speaks Common and Dwarvish, so that's pretty cool. So those were the 2 characters that we had finished. Now my wife's character we finished Sunday night after we came home. Her character is going to be a Half Elf Sorcerer. and I have her character sheet with me right here, so I can look at it. But her character has obviously dark vision, advantage versus charm, can't be put to sleep, and she speaks common, elvish, draconic, and undercommon. And her spells are chill touch, firebolt, minor illusion, shocking grasp, witch bolt, and false life. She's really excited about her character. And then her background is that of an urchin. So it gives her some thieving type skills like pick locks, I believe, and stuff like that. So she loves her character, and her character is not much different from our Pathfinder game. It's again a sorcerer that can do some rogue type stuff. Monday, I'll be meeting with my 2 players though, the Half Orc Fighter and the High Elf Wizard. And then next weekend, so a week from Saturday, I will be running D&D 5th edition for them. Really excited. Now, our Half Orc Fighter, she had played 2nd edition with us for about 10 sessions and still struggled with rules by the time we got to that point, which 2nd edition can be a little confusing for some people, especially with THAC0, or THAC 0 to hit armor class 0. And so I know she was feeling overwhelmed with taking on a new rule set. And so I was trying to explain to her that the new D&D is actually a really simple rule set. And pretty much just remember, you want to roll high as often as you can. So I did explain that to her and tried to break that down. I went over that on Tuesday with the Cleric and the Human Fighter because the guy who used to run 2nd edition has never played in a game except for once ever, and that was 2nd edition. And that was only 1 session. He's always ran games and only run 2nd edition. And I guess he had told his wife that he could not imagine a game without THAC0. So I kind of gave them a little explanation about it on Tuesday, which by that point, he had already read through the basic PDF and was grasping it. So yeah, that's basically it. I'm really excited about this game. I'm going to use my homebrew world again. I'm probably going to take something on the West Coast. I've rolled a page of information. I used my GM binder, which I actually am going to need to update because it's a lot of Pathfinder stuff in it. So it's pretty thick, and it's a lot of Pathfinder charts. Here's how I do my... Well, here, I'll show you real quick. Here's how I do my name prep. I do it by race. So, for instance, this first section of about 10 to 15 is human male, human female, elf female, halfling female, goblin, just goblin. I don't even differentiate. Orc male. And then I have dwarf male, dwarf female, and then I have another orc male and orc female. I don't know why I have so many orcs, but I do. So yeah, so that's my list of names. That's how I, on the fly, come up with names pretty quick. Works for me that way. I use name generators and I pick the best ones and throw them on an Excel spreadsheet. So you guys can steal that little piece of information. But so I used my GM binder to prepare for at least the first session. And something that I noticed that I didn't really put a lot of thought into because I was running Pathfinder is, for instance, my creating NPCs section is, it's got a lot of, for instance, the first thing you open to is the Adept and the Aristocrat from the Dungeon Master Guide. And, so it's got stats for Pathfinder. So I'm going to have to take all that out. And, while this one doesn't have pertinent information for D&D. So I think I'm going to take that out since I think 5th edition is going to be my go-to game from now on. And I'll probably, once I get rid of that part, I'll have an empty space in the front. But then it goes into the NPC Creators Toolbox. So what I might do is make that first section just for names in general. It could be names of people, names of places, names of whatever. Just names. I think that's what I'll do with that. But then it goes into my NPC Creators Toolbox. Now, if you know anything about the Pathfinder Dungeon Master Guide, you'll know that this stuff is system neutral. So I'm still excited about that. I still love this whole section. I did look at some of my names too that I've gotten off of Drive-Thru RPG free PDFs. So 138 simple NPC names. Most of them I don't like. So I'm just going to get rid of these and put them in my Excel spreadsheet form for the ones I actually do like. And I'll do that with all these names, and all my names will be in the very front section. It'll just be a random name generation or something. But yeah, I think this will help me on the fly. I do have the free Pathfinder bonus bestiary that is easy download through Paizo's website. I do have that in here, which I think I'm going to take it out because once again, it's all Pathfinder stats. And frankly, I don't think I'm going to be running Pathfinder much anymore. I probably won't throw the pages out. I'll probably just put them in a binder titled Pathfinder stuff or something. That way I still have it in case I do decide to play Pathfinder or run Pathfinder again. Let's see, what else do we have in here? It goes into then setting stuff, which is cool. Again, system neutral stuff. I rolled on some of those for things for my first adventure because I haven't actually prepped a lot for this game. What I did is I rolled up a lot of random stats, random encounter stuff, and not encounter stuff, but random setting things. And from there, I'm going to use it to help build my the area of the world they're going to play in and possibly where this campaign will take place. So yeah, but again, good stuff in there. There's an article by John Four, I believe, called Role Playing Tips Weekly Supplemental Number 7. Buildings, establishments, and places you can find in villages, towns, and cities. It's got a lot of good stuff in that. Tavern toolbox, tavern names, yada, 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 yada. So anyways, long story short, I need to update my DM binder. So, and I will do that. Now, back to my 5e game. When I started a Facebook group, I like to start Facebook groups for my campaign members so that I can post things in there relevant to the game. So I can ask people for information like, hey, you know, for instance, what did you do in your downtime? So I can prepare before a session and they can tell me, oh, you know, because I'll say, hey, 2 months passed. What did you do for 2 months? And they could just say it in there so that when we get to the table, I can tell them anything relevant that's happened, whether they've learned new skills. I can even say it before we get to the game. Hey, you learned this new skill or this new ability. Maybe you found an item, you know, so I can give them all that before we even get to the table. Another reason is I like to work out the scheduling conflicts, who's bringing what to the game. Very easy to find instead of having to go and look at your old text messages or things like that. You have one place, and on Facebook, you can just go visit it. So I found that's really helped a lot with my Pathfinder game. I think it'll help a lot with our new 5th edition game. My Outcast group that played a one-shot for D&D, I'll probably try and get you guys into something like that in case we do turn this into a campaign. I'm gonna try and reach out to you guys here soon and set something up probably for mid to late October so we can get back to playing our game as well. So yeah, if you guys have any ideas for anything fun that I could start off this campaign around, I'd love to hear it. I love hearing your guys' ideas, and I think that's about it. So this is gonna go up on my channel. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Give me your thoughts, your feedback, maybe some good ways to get my players fully engaged. Maybe you have some ideas for teaching new players things. Since none of them have played 5th edition and most of them have barely read the book, what are some good ways to really teach them this new edition? I feel like it's a very simple edition. However, I've played a lot of games and I've looked and read a bunch more games. So these people aren't necessarily diehards like that. So it's going to be a little bit of a learning curve, and I'm hoping by the end of a session or two, they'll all completely understand it and be on board and excited. So again, feedback is welcome, and look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thank you. Bye.